about to expose the wealth formula. What is the wealth formula? This formula really helps to understand why the rich get wealthy. The wealthy truly understand the wealth formula. And what does the wealth formula include? It includes inflation. Most people don't look at inflation as a way to become wealthy. They see it as something that works against them. But the rich, they use it in their favor. And how do they use it in their favor? They know how inflation works and the effects it has on debt and the effects it has on assets. Everybody who is wealthy right now knows about this wealth formula. You need to understand this formula to put wealth in your favor, to put inflation in your favor. So the story goes from a long time ago where emperors would destroy other emperors just by this formula alone. People who understood it got richer and the people who did not got poorer. Alright, you guys ready? Well, I just want to show you a little bit more information on what the wealthy has to say. There are two main drivers of asset class returns: inflation and growth rate value. This is one of the biggest hedge funds in the US. Why is he talking about this? Why is he mentioning inflation? Why is he talking about asset class return? How can inflation be a return? Most people see it as something that works against them. So this is why I really want to put emphasis on why the wealthy truly understand inflation and this wealth formula. This wealth formula, not a lot of people know about it. People are talking about compound interest, simple interest, but nobody's talking about this formula. Why isn't nobody talking about this formula? Alright. So, I always find it interesting that a lot of useless information goes around, but the truth stays hidden. Nobody takes the time to seek for the truth. What is the truth? So let's go a little bit further and I will expose this wealth formula. It took me 10 years of personal experience before I could even understand this formula. Once I understood it, it changed the way I view life. I wasn't in a scared mentality anymore. Before that, I used to budget, I used to be very careful, and I was very scared all the time. I didn't know I was living in this scared mentality. Nobody was telling me, and nobody's telling you because everybody's living in that way. Everybody's living in that mentality, so nobody's gonna tell you that the way you're living right now is abnormal. Because if everyone around you is telling you something and you're doing something else, that's when people start to say something. It's when you're different. When you're different, that's when people judge. They say, why does he do that? And they're gonna hate you when they don't understand the information. They'd like to understand the information, but they're unable because they don't have enough time to concentrate and focus and learning a new formula. Alright, enough time taken from you guys. I will write down this formula, just a matter of time. So here it goes. The wealth formula goes like this. Wealth equals 2 times parentheses assets divided by capital. This is the capital that you invest times 1 plus inflation to the power of n. N is the number of years, minus liabilities times 1 plus inflation to the power of n again. Alright, so this is showing you that inflation works in the favor of assets, okay? And especially if the asset is leverage, because when the asset is leverage, capital and assets become, this is the formula for leverage, times 1 plus inflation to the power of n. This means that the more assets you have that is leverage, the faster your wealth will grow. As you could notice, when there's leverage, you can deduct liabilities, because you have to remember, in 1 year, $100,000 is not $100,000, it's $100,000 minus inflation. So if inflation is at 2%, this means that if in 2019 and 2020, or let's say 2020 and 2001, this will be worth $98,000. So even if there's interest on this loan at 2% and inflation is at 2%, this money is essentially free money. This is what Rich Dad Poor Dad's talking about when he's talking about the rich don't work for money, they acquire assets. This is what he's talking about. He's talking about this wealth formula. Nobody's talking about this formula because they give just enough information for people to understand, but to not take action, because if you're missing some puzzles, you won't be able to complete the whole puzzle. So let's look at this example. Imagine you have $1 million of assets times capital times your inflation. We're going to remove this for now, and let's say 0.2% for 1 year minus liabilities. So let's say you owe $600,000 times 1 plus this time 2% to the power of 1. So in actuality, your wealth will grow, say $1,020 minus $600,000. This is a minus, sorry about that, I did a little mistake. So it'll be worth about $599,000. So just by inflation alone, this formula gave you $21,000 by doing nothing. This is inflation alone. So hopefully you guys appreciate this formula and you get the best out of it, and you understand why is it so powerful. It means that the more assets that you acquire, the less money you will need to pay. So alright, that's that for the wealth formula. Have a good one, guys, and I just shared this powerful knowledge.